All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to be talking about the 3-1 Seattle Seahawks entering their bye week here. In my opinion, this is the best team, or will be at the end of the season, in the NFC West, and it has to do with their defense. This is a completely different night and day defense than they were last year. Their rush defense last season was just not it. It wasn't it. They, this season, 4 games in, are 6th in total rushing defense. They are 3rd in rush average defense. They're only averaging opposing teams like 3 yards per carry. They are 1st in defensive sacks, and they stop runs for negative yards or no gain at the 3rd highest rate in the NFL at a 26.5%. The defense is completely different. And I hate that the narrative right now is all because they won 24-3, where their starting quarterback threw for 110 yards. He didn't need to do anything. He did get banged up at a point in that game, but what I love about Seattle is they're not dependent on Geno Smith. And Geno Smith is coming off a 30-touchdown season. Like, it's a revamped defense. And we started to see it last year. Like, there's clear talent, but they bring in veterans. They continue to hit on targets that they want in the draft, both offensively, but specifically defensively with guys like Devon Witherspoon. But I really hate that the narrative after that Giants game is, oh my goodness, Brian Dable is pissed off at Daniel Jones, blah, blah, blah. And it has nothing to do with the Seattle Seahawks defense that just had 11 freaking sacks. I mean, their defense just had 11 sacks. I don't care that Saquon Barkley didn't play. I don't care that they have some offensive linemen banged up, because guess what? So does not only every team in the National Football League a month in, but so do the Seattle Seahawks. And you don't see them whining and complaining. There's just no respect for the defense in that game. And it's just weird to me, but it's okay. The Seattle Seahawks are under the radar, and that is, better than being, I guess, all over the radar. I'm thinking of like the Dallas Cowgirls right now. Anyways, before we get any further into today's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. We'll definitely get at least one Seahawks video out in the bye week, so stay tuned for that. But Seahawks fans, you guys continue to bless this channel in the last year since I've been making them. I appreciate you guys so much. Try and get this video to 250 likes. It would mean a lot to me. So yeah, it's not perfect. Things aren't perfect. For example, they're 28.9% on third down conversions. That's second to last in the NFL, right behind the New York Jets. The average in the NFL is around 40%, so they're like 11% worse. So there are things they need to clean up. Keep in mind their star young tackles are injured. Their pass defense hasn't been perfect. It actually just hasn't really been good. But this was the first game where Reek and Devon played together. You need Jamal Adams back, but I think what a lot of people wouldn't understand are guys like Trey Brown. Once Trey Brown comes back from his concussion, these are things that make a difference. This is not only like a talented team with the new additions of guys like Jaron Reed and Bobby Wagner and Vermont Jones, and then the rookies and like Devon Witherspoon. It's just like a genuinely deep defense. It's just a genuinely deep team. Geno Smith, here's the thing, man. 110 yards. Like, I get it that New York offensively had nothing going the entire game. They dominated the line of or time of possession by like 12 whole minutes, like 36-24, something along those lines. But Geno Smith is having a good, solid season. And as we alluded to earlier on in the video, what I love about this team is they're not dependent on Geno Smith. And the team that comes to mind in my head right now are like the Buffalo Bills. Geno on the season, 68.3% completion percentage, 846 yards, 5 touchdowns, and an interception. Offensively, they're putting up 28 points per game. They are the 6th highest scoring offense 1 month into the National Football season. And the thing is, they haven't even hit their stride. They just haven't hit their stride. They've had some really impressive wins. The last 3 wins, I think, have been, any win is impressive. But for example, that overtime road victory against the Detroit Lions, a rising team in the NFC. I'm a Packers fan. I'm already going to crown them the NFC North champions. They put up 37 on them. Their offense is just hitting the tip of the iceberg. In fact, it's not even close to the tip of the iceberg, to be quite honest with you. Like, Kenneth Walker III is an absolute stud. But when we look offensively, it's very important to keep in mind they're missing so many pieces on the offensive line. And we once again emphasize the point. The Seattle Seahawks depth is insane. Pete Carroll, the GM, the management, the ownership, everybody in Seattle right now, organizationally, they're doing a phenomenal job. And they've done a phenomenal job ever since, for a very long time, might I add. But you've got depth on the offensive line. You've got a defense that has been completely, or I shouldn't say revamped, it's just been upgraded in all the right ways. The rush defense last season was what kind of shot Seattle in the foot in the playoffs. You've got your star wide receiver in DK Metcalf. I've got my veteran, I'm using air quotes here, in Tyler Lockett. And then I have like guys like JSN, Jake Bobo. JSN, first round pick in the draft. He is yet to get going. I mean, he is yet to get going. So it's not perfect. But Seattle's 3-1. And I love how everyone keeps alluding to that game, week 1, like, oh, they lost to the Rams at home. They gave up 30 to the Rams at home. I mean, this is a month ago. Context, whatever. It was week 1. Teams don't even play their starters anymore in the preseason. I'm starting to lean more towards week 1 of the regular season is like the final week of preseason for a lot of these football teams, like the Buffalo Bills, another great example. I don't think I've ever made a Buffalo Bills video on this channel, but we've already talked about them twice in this video. They just keep hitting on not only draft picks, but they just keep hitting on free agent acquisitions, on just coaching, like every single thing. Seattle is running a world-class organization at this current point in time. So some of the more intangibles, things you can't quite measure in statistics and analytics. And I think one thing that is perfectly clear that a lot of people were talking about before the season even started is kind of the reminiscent of 2013 and just that era of Seattle Seahawks football, specifically on the defensive side. Like, obviously, these guys are having a great time. They've got each other's back, the aura, the energy, the vibe, whatever you want to call it. It's through the roof right now. They're doing next man up. I mean, they're injured. This is just an injured football team. And that's why this bye week, I usually hate bye weeks when they come this early on in the season. It comes at the perfect time for Seattle. The mentality of this defense does remind me of just like kind of the way I was raised, like the way football was. And it's guys like Devon Witherspoon. I mean, I know whoever was announcing that game on Monday night talked about it all the time. Devon Witherspoon loves to hit. This dude literally loves to freaking hit people. And so does everybody on the Seattle Seahawks defense. And that is just something in this day and age, in 2023, you don't see that from everybody. You just don't see the perfect word to describe specifically their defense, but the team in general. They're hungry, man. And we're not talking hippos here. They're hungry. And you don't want to play a team that is seeking you out to just make the next week of your life physically torture. Devon Witherspoon, I mean, he is now going to be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year, but this is one of these players that we hyped up so much in the offseason for a very specific reason. And we've seen it so far a month into the regular season, but we really saw it in that game against the New York Giants. I mean, he broke rookie records. He had 2 sacks. He had an like Devon Witherspoon, a pick six that almost went like 100 yards. The dude, 97 yards. The dude's all over the place. Quandre Diggs, Woolen, Jamal Adams when he comes back, Trey Brown when he comes back. I have zero concerns and I have zero worries for the one thing that you could look at this team statistically and be like, that could be a concern. And it's the pass defense ranking wise right now. When we look into it and we get into the context, I don't think there's a single Seattle Seahawks fan out there that is worried about your secondary and your pass defense. This team looks really good. I'm excited for after this bye week, the next couple of games, because it does get a little bit difficult. You've got, for example, towards the end of the season, you've got San Francisco, then you go to Dallas, and then you go to San Francisco, and then you come home against Philadelphia. Towards the end of the season, things are going to get a little bit more difficult as far as opponents go. But hey, man, a win is a win, and they're sitting at 3-1 heading into their bye week, and they're injured, and this is just a really, really good position to be in. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content along with Seahawks videos all the time. Guys, let me know. Let me know your thoughts on this team right now down below. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.